The NBA was caught in a lie once again, or so it seems, after boasting about a massive boost in Christmas Day viewership.
I love the NFL. But Christmas is our day.
Critics quickly exposed flaws in the league's claims. With strategic scheduling, double broadcasts, and avoiding NFL competition, the NBA painted a picture of success that doesn't hold up under scrutiny. But is the league's obsession with image masking deeper issues? Or are we witnessing the NBA's desperate attempts to stay relevant in the shadow of football's dominance? Christmas Day has long been a signature stage for the NBA. Years ago, families gathered around to watch intense battles like Shaq's Miami Heat squaring off against Kobe's Lakers, or LeBron facing off with other superstars. It was a special date on the league's calendar, a chance to display marquee talent on a global platform. In late December, the NBA proudly announced an 84% boost in Christmas Day viewership compared to the prior year. News outlets shared that statistic, claiming it proved the league's popularity was on the upswing. ESPN named these matchups the most watched since 2019. At first glance, it sounded like the NBA had recaptured a chunk of its old magic. However, some fans and analysts were quick to dissect how that figure came about. They noted that last year's Christmas games clashed more directly with NFL competition. They also pointed out that only 3 of the NBA's 5 games in 2022 were on ESPN, while the rest were elsewhere. This year, all 5 aired on both ESPN and ABC at the same time, potentially counting overlapping viewers twice. Such a broadcasting approach can inflate numbers by catching casual channel surfers on separate networks. Those who questioned the claims also emphasized the league's shifting of its top matchup from an afternoon slot to prime time. By moving the marquee showdown to later in the day, the NBA avoided the NFL's more popular early windows. Detractors claimed that the league's Christmas surge didn't reflect a genuine rise in interest. Instead, they believed it showed a careful arrangement meant to dodge direct rivalry with football, giving the NBA a free runway to post bigger tallies. Critics wanted to see how the NBA's holiday ratings stacked up against last year's, factoring in where and when games aired. In 2022, a trio of Christmas matchups went exclusively on cable channels, limiting casual viewers who might not have those packages. That same day, multiple NFL games battled for attention, pushing some fans to watch football instead. It created a fierce showdown, leaving some wondering how many neutral fans the NBA lost. This year, the league tried something else. It put every single Christmas contest on both ESPN and ABC. That meant even if viewers lacked cable, they could still tune in on network television. At first glance, that might sound like a great move. More people can watch, so presumably that should translate to a bigger audience. However, counting that audience across 2 major broadcasters can cause a ratings bump that looks more dramatic than it truly is. Another element, the NBA moved its marquee event, featuring Steph Curry and LeBron James, to prime time. Traditionally, the biggest games sat in the mid-afternoon slot, often around 3:30 p.m. Eastern. This time, it landed at 7:30 p.m., hours after the NFL's daytime windows ended. By dodging the NFL's presence, the NBA had less competition in that slot. The final result was a spike in ratings, but was it a genuine spike or just a scheduling trick? Comparisons to older Christmas showdowns made the numbers look unimpressive. Years ago, a Kobe vs. Shaq holiday clash scored around 13 million viewers, nearly double the 2023 Curry vs. LeBron figure. Analysts who recall those days see these new claims as part of a broader PR push. They argue it's easier to trumpet highest since 2019 without mentioning that Christmas viewership had already slumped before that point. In reality, the league has been battling a rating slide for years. The NFL once shied away from playing on Christmas, treating it as a quiet holiday. Yet in recent years, the league has jumped in, setting up games on December 25th. This shift created direct competition with the NBA's traditional winter showcase. Suddenly, casual viewers had football as an alternative on a day once owned by pro basketball. LeBron James famously claimed that Christmas belonged to the NBA as if the league's presence on that date was undisputed, but the NFL's numbers continue to slam that door shut. Even when the NFL offers lopsided matchups or injuries hamper star power, it consistently pulls in massive audiences. The NFL's brand remains so strong that fans seem willing to watch almost any game, no matter the final score. During the most recent Christmas cycle, the NFL had only 2 games.
This Christmas, we all get our wish.
Get your popcorn ready. What a game for some football, baby. Let's go, man. Let's go.
The NFL is live on Netflix, and I'll be there too.
both available primarily on Netflix. Meanwhile, the NBA had 5 games on network and cable, yet the football matchups still eclipsed the basketball ones in total viewers, even though they were blowouts. That disparity feels stark. A marquee NBA thriller between Steph Curry and LeBron James decided in the final second drew around 7.7 million viewers. One of the NFL's blowouts, marred by sloppy play, reached well over 25 million. Another soared past 30 million. Even streaming exclusivity didn't knock the NFL off its perch. Critics highlight the difference in stakes. The NFL's schedule is short, with each game carrying playoff implications or pride. Meanwhile, the NBA's 82-game grind leaves many regular season matchups feeling routine. Fans might wait until later in the season or check in only during the playoffs. This gap in perceived importance can steer viewers toward football when both sports share a time slot. Analysts also note cultural roots. Football is woven deeply into American traditions, with families hosting weekend gatherings dedicated to the sport. The NBA, while popular, hasn't matched that broad communal pull. Even on a day typically associated with basketball in the past, the NFL's hold on the public remains formidable. For those who believed Christmas was still NBA territory, the holiday's TV figures suggest a different story. When both leagues collide, the NFL stands on top, no matter if the game is competitive or not. That reality puts the NBA in a tricky position. They tried moving matchups to prime time to avoid direct clashes, but the overall day still belongs to football in terms of buzz and raw numbers. Some pundits tried to explain away the NBA's viewership drop by citing cord cutting. They argued that fans don't have cable packages anymore, so it's hard for them to watch regular season games. They also blamed streaming's fragmentation, which can mean you need multiple apps or subscriptions to follow your favorite team. But if streaming was such a huge barrier, why did the NFL thrive on a streaming platform during Christmas? 2 of the NFL's games appeared mostly on Netflix for out-of-market viewers. Despite that, they still racked up millions more watchers than the NBA's most hyped event on free broadcast channels. Fans who crave football will find it no matter the service. Meanwhile, the NBA's response was to avoid direct conflict with NFL time slots. They moved their biggest showdown deeper into the evening. This tactic likely boosted their numbers, but also highlighted the league's worry about losing a head-to-head ratings battle. Some see it as a temporary fix, one that looks good at first glance but may not address the long-term dip in overall interest. Then there's the argument about local blackouts and how regional networks control coverage. Football benefits from a structure where even neutral fans tune in for prime national matchups. The NBA's approach typically involves many regional broadcasts, which can limit big national gatherings outside of marquee events. If the local team isn't playing, some fans might not bother watching. Proponents of the NBA claim the game is just a click away if you have the right streaming package. But that's the issue. You need to sign up for multiple services, each with separate fees. The NFL might also spread games around, but it's simpler for many fans to find a free or local broadcast. The difference in consistent accessibility can tilt casual viewers toward football. For all the hype around Christmas Day, the broader view tells a different story. According to multiple reports, the NBA's average national broadcast viewership this season sits around 1.4 million per game. That figure is down nearly 30% from last year. Even more startling, the WNBA averaged about 1.2 million on overlapping platforms during its recent season. Nobody doubts the WNBA's growth is a positive sign, but the fact it's inching toward NBA-like numbers raises eyebrows. Much of the NBA's decline isn't just about scheduling battles with the NFL. Fans have voiced concerns that the on-court product feels predictable. There's a heavy emphasis on shooting three-pointers, repeated pick-and-roll sets, and less physical defense. Critics argue that the league's attempt to reduce contact and speed up scoring has made games blur together. Rather than seeing diverse offensive tactics, viewers watch a barrage of threes. For some older fans, this style lacks the gritty, suspenseful feel of past eras. Commissioner Adam Silver once remarked that basketball in the late 90s was too physical, scaring away viewers who disliked low-scoring slugfests. But many fans recall that period as a time when the NBA's popularity soared, led by Michael Jordan's second three-peat. Ratings were massive, and big men like Shaq roamed the paint without worrying about constant whistles. Today, the league might be more skill-based, yet the authenticity of competition is up for debate. People wonder if top players get preferential treatment, leading to inconsistent officiating and a lack of real drama. The style controversy is just one part of the picture.
If there's anything I could change about the league to make it better, probably just all the guys sitting resting. That's the only thing I probably don't like. Just play, man. If you if you 80%, you got to play. I don't like all the sitting, missing games and stuff like these people.
Frequent player movement, super teams, and mid-season rest days also affect how fans engage. Some supporters say it's tough to invest in a team when rosters can flip overnight. In addition, load management disrupts marquee matchups, with stars sitting out national TV games to preserve their health.
Mindset of going, you know, like that to you is comical, right, to do that.
What the hell is that, man? I don't know what that is. That's crazy. Seriously, it's crazy. Like, you got a lot of people paying their hard-earned money to come watch you perform.
That might be wise for longevity, but it frustrates viewers who tune in hoping to see specific players only to discover they've been scratched. All these factors add up to a viewer base that might cherry-pick games rather than watch religiously. On top of that, steep ticket prices and complex TV deals can alienate certain fans. When fans see NFL ratings remain robust, they might wonder if football's single-game intensity is more exciting than an NBA season that feels too long. The league might find short-term success with Christmas scheduling maneuvers, but the overall downward trend suggests deeper problems. Meanwhile, back at the NBA's corporate offices, a narrative of everything's fine prevails. The Christmas numbers are trumpeted as proof of growth, overshadowing the reality of season-wide dips. It's the same pattern repeated each time a holiday or playoff rating looks momentarily encouraging. Detractors point to the full set of data and see a sport losing ground to older fans and struggling to intrigue new ones. Unless structural changes or marketing shifts occur, the NBA's attempts to tout inflated stats risk losing credibility. Over the past few years, the NBA has promoted various angles to paint itself in the best possible light. League representatives highlight social media engagement, star-driven storylines, and occasional spikes in digital viewership. But each time they boast about numbers without context, skeptical fans push back. They wonder if the league is ignoring the steady erosion of its broader audience. For instance, saying Christmas ratings were the highest since 2019 sounds like a big deal, but if 2019 itself was already a low benchmark, how impressive is that improvement? Critics see it as a classic public relations maneuver, celebrate a relative uptick while glossing over the bigger downward slope. Faithful fans who've watched for decades can tell the difference, recalling earlier seasons when holiday contests hit nearly 13 million viewers. Those same fans argue that transparency is the only path to regaining trust.
And you let him,
So you let him dance,
you let him dance, he's gonna hit that left hand.
Oh, you might get one of those in you. You might get one of those in you. You might get one of those in you.
That's a long,
what I'm talking
that's a long layup.
Get one of those in you, baby. You know what I'm saying?
If the NBA acknowledges real concerns, ranging from an over-reliance on threes to scheduling overload, maybe viewers will welcome efforts to fix them, but repeated denial or spin can erode loyalty, pushing people toward other sports or just away from live broadcasting altogether. So did the NBA surge in popularity this Christmas, or did scheduling and dual network coverage produce shiny but shallow numbers? And will honest reflection drive real changes, or will we keep seeing more inflated stats? Let us know your thoughts below, and don't forget to check out our next video shown on screen.